Hey guys, I got a really interesting video lined up for today, and it's going to be about muscle memory. And this is a little bit different in the fitness industry. It's different than something like riding a bike, and it's going to be very useful for your mental capacity during this quarantine. For people that are afraid they lost their gains or are losing their gains, I think this will help a lot. So, muscle memory, what is it? Muscle memory is the ability to gain all your muscle back faster than when you initially got it. And an example of this, it would be like if, let's say, theoretically, in 1 year, you gain 10 pounds, or let's say 12 pounds, 1 pound per month, and then let's say theoretically just snap, you lost all of it, it would only take you 6 months to gain those 12 pounds back because you already had the muscle. And the reason is this is the sciencey part, so just kind of stick with me, is because of two reasons. I'll explain the easier part first, then I'll get into the science part. The first part is because when you're training, you're already acclimated to training a certain way, and you do it all and you know what you're doing. So you don't have to retrain your doing your squat or your bench or your deadlift or whatever. You just know how to do it. So obviously if you just are already doing everything 100%, you're regaining muscle faster. But besides that, on a much more in-depth scale of what it is when you build muscle, when you grow your muscle, you okay, so muscle is all cells. They're called muscle cells. And in a cell, you have something called a nucleus. It's the control center of each and every cell that you have. Every cell has a nucleus. Every single cell is different. They do different things. Muscle cells, they obviously make muscle. The nucleus in a muscle cell is called a myonuclei. And when you have a muscle, or you have a muscle cell, it has a myonuclei, but the myonuclei can only control so much of a muscle cell that it has to make different myonuclei to make more muscle. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you have one muscle cell has one myonuclei in it, and you do some bicep curls or whatever, and you grow that muscle to its maximum capacity that myonuclei can handle. You're gonna have to make new myonuclei to make another muscle cell or another muscle layer, and eventually the muscle just gets bigger and bigger and bigger because it stacks and stacks upon each other. Now, how do you get these myonuclei? And this happens when, or if you have things that are called satellite cells. These are little cells that orbit around your muscle. They constantly are repairing it, and this is what happens is the the satellite infusion or fission fusion satellite fusion into your muscles is it rotating around your muscle, finding the spot where it got broken down. So let's say it's your bicep, you're doing some curls and you get little micro tears, and that's what builds your muscle. The satellite cells rotate to around it, they put more satellite, or they take the nuclei out of the satellite cell, they put it in your muscle, make it a myonuclei cell, and then now you have the more myonuclei nucleuses that you have, the more muscle you can make. So, and how this kind of correlates to how gaining muscle faster than you previously already had it is when you have these myonuclei. Let's say you grow to your max potential of how much myonuclei you have. When you lose all the muscle, the myonuclei are still there. They don't die. They just lose all the mass surrounding them. You have to regain that mass. But since you already have the myonuclei, you get to skip the satellite infusion process that happens. But you still need to eat things like you need the protein to build the actual muscle, but the satellite cells are already there with or that make the myonuclei. So the more satellite cells you have, the faster you're going to recover. It's a good point to have. So always make sure, do some research on how to get more satellite cells. It's really simple. You just eat a lot of food. Insulin is the one that does it. Glycogen, all that good stuff. It builds more cells. The more energy you have, the more cells you have, the more stuff. And you can't specifically make satellite cells, unfortunately, by eating certain foods. It's just your body making all types of different cells. And so you just output, or you maximize your output of those cells by eating whatever it is that boosts your insulin. So back to what I was saying, when you have your muscle, and let's say you lose all your muscle, but all the myonuclei is there, you work out half of what you would have worked out to gain as much muscle as you had. So let's go back to the comparison I made. In 1 year, you gained 12 pounds. So you gained 1 pound of muscle per month. So every single month you would gain 2 pounds of muscle instead of 1 pound. So within that year, you could potentially, you would hit your max of what you had, then it would go back to normal. So you wouldn't put 24 pounds of muscle on. You would very quickly put on that 12 pounds of muscle within 6 months, I would say. Now, all the studies I've read, it doesn't say how long these myonuclei last, but it's a lot longer than 2 months, that's for sure. It lasts a very, very long time. So you don't have to be afraid, and that's why I'm making this video, is because you don't have to be afraid of losing your muscle and your gains. Now you might lose them, but you're not losing them. Like, they're not gone. You just go and work out and you'll gain it 2 times as fast. So don't think that when the gym opens up and you go to the gym, you're gonna have to work super, super hard and crazy, and you're gonna have to work just as long, harder. You have to go longer, lift more to get all this muscle back, when in reality you don't. The myonuclei are already there. You just have to make sure you're eating enough protein to build all the muscle around it, and just work out. Satellite cells will do their thing, myonuclei will do their thing, and you'll gain your muscle back 2 times as fast than you normally had it. Now, this is a very interesting topic. It was kind of sciencey. I hope you were able to stick together with me with all the crazy words I said, like myonuclei, satellite cells, protein synthesis, fusion, stuff like that. So I hope I explained it well enough. Just take with you, if you weren't able to understand it, that you may have lost your gains, but you'll gain them back very, very fast as soon as you start training. So don't quit because you feel like you lost all this weight or this muscle. Just go to the gym and you'll get it all back really, really fast. You don't have to train super hard or super crazy. Just do your normal thing. You'll gain it all back. Good to go. And then you can start on your journey to build more and more muscle with the satellite cells and the fusion, myonuclei, blah, 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 all the fancy shit I said. So I would do my own research into that too. I unfortunately didn't do that for you, was look up how to get more satellite cells and myonuclei. All I saw was things like insulin. You have raised insulin without getting diabetes, obviously. You would have more satellite cells because you'd have technically more energy in your body to make more cells. That's all I really got, and this is all I really got for the video. It was kind of short, but I think it was a lot of information, and it would help a lot of people mentally, because now they know that they may have lost their gains, but they can just gain it back very, very quickly. But you know the drill. Follow the Insta, comment, like, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.